there, happy Monday! Thanks for joining me for a craft night with friends. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. All right, we are still working on the ABC stitch along, and this week we are working on the L lion, and we are going to do a whole pile of turkey work for the mane. I think we're going to try and use up all our extra scraps. That should be pretty easy, I think, with turkey work. That kind of uses it up a lot. So, but I think first we'll stitch all the other outlines, and then we'll get started on the turkey work. All right, let's get going. Okay, everyone, let me zoom you on over. Okay, so just to let you know what I'm talking about again, turkey work is where you do these, it ends up looking like these like fuzzy little bits. So someone brought up, oh, we should try doing that for the whole entire lion mane. So I think that's what I'm going to try. It takes forever and uses tons of floss though. So we might be here a while doing this, but so I'm going to try and stitch everything else as quick as possible. I'm also, so here's the pattern. This is the lion pattern, lion embroidery pattern, and it comes with a, it comes with an iron-on version and a traceable version. So for the iron-on version, it's in reverse. You would cut off this text and then preheat your fabric and then press it with the iron-on ink side down, and you'd hold it there for like 5 seconds and then just check. And you can use it up to like 5 times or so. But tonight I am going to use the traceable one. And the reason for that is that we're changing the mane on this lion to be that turkey work, that fluffy turkey work. So I don't want the lines, like the underneath lines, to show. So I think, because I don't know if I'm going to go that far out with the stitching, I might just go to here and then the fluff will do the rest. So I think I just kind of want to draw like a dotted line for the outside with a water-soluble marker, just so I know kind of where to trim, basically. So I know where the extent is, but I don't want to like flip over the fluff and then see the lines. So we're going to actually use the tracing method this time. So I think I can trace, yeah, I was thinking I could trace pretty easily through this fabric without using a light table. So that's what we're going to do. Otherwise I do have a light table, but I didn't want to get it all out. So I'm just doing my best to center this. I don't have to be perfect because I do have extra, all the way around, extra fabric here. But I think that looks pretty good. You could tape this down, but I don't really have that much to trace, so I think it's going to go pretty quick. I'm going to use my fine line or my water-soluble marking pen for this. I think that'll work well. Sometimes I'll just do a pencil, but since I do want these lines to go away completely, I'm going to use the water-soluble. I could use pencil for these parts, but I got this out already. So again, the reason I'm tracing tonight instead of doing the iron-on is because I'm going to be stitching the mane different, and I don't want those lines to show, so I won't be tracing the lines. I'm just going to like mark the outer edge of the mane. Because I like the effect of the mane. I like that his mane is like long up here and short down there, so I kind of want to keep that idea. But I might just do that with how I trim. We'll see. See how it goes. So I do like the iron-on, but you know, it's no biggie. A piece this small to trace. So I think I'm probably going to do turkey work for the tail fluff as well. So I think I'll just let that be. Maybe I'll just draw like the shape of it so I know where it kind of lives in the direction, but that'll go away once I get rid of the water-soluble marker. just ordered more of these pens. I think we have a bunch still, but stocking up on them for the shop. All right, so this will be basically all backstitch. Let's get these L's in here too. So I think I'm going to stitch the outlines for the lion first, just to have them out of the way so they're not in the, so it's not like I don't have to do it yet after the turkey work, because I think that'll be annoying. But I'll probably leave the L's for later, and maybe even this roar later. I don't know, we'll see how I feel. So the turkey work we probably won't start till tomorrow, we'll see. But then it'll take a while, I'm thinking. And use up a ton of thread. Okay, R-O-A. Right. Okay. Oh, and I just want to mark, I'm just going to kind of mark roughly like the outer edge of this, like how far out it goes. But this will come off when I get this wet later to take off the water soluble marker. All right, let's close that up. There, that's what I'm needing to do. I'm like, my brain brought me back here. Why is it? To remove the paper. So, all right, so there we go. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. It's there. You can see it. I can definitely see it. There we go. Nice thin lines. So I just have that round shape for the mane. It's kind of funny. It's cute with just that circle. All right, let's get this guy in the hoop, and I'm going to try and get through these lines, the outlines, like super duper fast. We'll see how that goes. Ooh, hope everything, let me know if Facebook is working. Seems like it might be weird, but hopefully it's okay. Otherwise, we're still on YouTube and TikTok. Okus is saying, why just the L? So I'm doing the whole alphabet. So I have a letter, like last week we did this guy. So I have a letter for every an animal for every letter of the alphabet. So we're going like A through Z through all the patterns. So, and we're gonna be making it into a quilt early next year because it'll take that long. So that's why just the L's for the lion. Oh, weird. Little Brittany says, TikTok didn't tell me I was on today. Oh, weird. I've heard that it's being weird for some people lately. So I just got on though, so you didn't miss much. I did trace the design on here though. I'm tracing it today instead of doing an iron-on because here's the design. It has all of these lines, but I'm gonna switch that to turkey work, which is that fluffy stitch. So I just kind of, wow, this is really hard to see. But I just drew like where the edge of those were because those lines, I don't want to see those lines when I'm done because I'm doing it a little bit differently. All right, let's get going. I think I'm going to use, actually, I have a lot of, this is what the original color was. I'm going through that one set of embroidery floss still, so I'm attempting to do that. We're going to get through all of it pretty quick though, I think. But the original design used this color, but I have a whole lot more of this little bit brighter orange, so I think I'm going to just do that instead for this guy. And then his mane and tail are going to be like all my scraps, so it's going to be all sorts of color. And then it's also going to be probably more than this. Like, I think it's going to take, which is crazy, but I think his mane is going to take more than the entirety of what I have here. Ooh, let's get the black out right away because I'll need it for his eyes. Okay, let's get some thread and get started so we can see something on here. All right, so I'm going to separate my 3 strands. The 1, just like isolating one strand and zoop, pulling it on out. And 3. Okay. Let's get these 3 back together. Oh, thanks, Amy. Thanks for checking. It's just weird because if anyone's commenting on Facebook, I don't see any comments, and usually I see like piles of comments by now. So maybe it's just on my end. I can't see comments. All right, let's get my little needle minder out. Maybe we'll get him on here today. Usually I just like it on the side, but we'll get him on there. Got a bunch of spare needles on there. Okay. Let's get going. So I think I'm going to start this again where I just let a little piece of thread dangle off as if it's my last stitch that I need to do. Or my first stitch. So I don't like to start with knots. So I'm just going to let this hang out here. This is going to be enough for me to do one last stitch plus weave in the end. So this is my like lazy way of doing this, but that's how it's going to be. Feeling lazy today. So I need it long enough to do a stitch and weave it in, so I need to make sure that I don't pull it any shorter. All right. So just ignore that guy. We will come back to him later. And now I'm going to just go around our little outlines here. Oh, they are commenting? Oh, okay. So thanks, Amy. So everyone on Facebook, I cannot see your comments, and I have no idea why. So sorry if I'm not replying. I feel like Mondays are always a little weird. Like I feel like all the systems kind of reboot themselves over the weekend, and they don't know how to like just stay how they were. I don't know. But yeah, I can't see any comments over there. But I can see them on YouTube and TikTok yet, if you're on either of those as well. All right. Cruising around doing this back stitch. So I'm just peeking. Okay, so the ears, the ears have, they're kind of hard to see too. I think the phone is color correcting, but the ears are, they got like little filled in yellow triangles. So that's the satin stitch. So I just wanted to check. I couldn't remember if they were satin stitch or just more outlines. So we'll fill those in with satin stitch. I'd like to finish at least on the lion all of the outlines and the little pieces. So all that's done before I do the turkey work. And again, turkey work, I've only done it a few times, but I'm really having fun with it. We did it on the letter G. We did it on the elephant as well for letter E, but it gets this, like this is a totally floofy little bit of like a tail, but it's actually made with like stitches, like real stitches in there. It's not like I glued a pom-pom here or something. So anyway, it's kind of fun. And then someone mentioned like, oh, we should do the whole mane for the lion. So that's going to be the attempt. It does take a long time and takes a lot of floss. So I'm going to use up all my leftover floss, and I might actually use up a whole pile of my good floss doing that too. So that's my prediction. I don't know that for sure, but we may be opening another batch of, oops, dropped my needle. Another batch of floss when we're done here, but we'll see. And that's fine too. That's what it's there for. But yeah, so let's get him all stitched up. The roar and the L's I just might leave for later. Let's just get all these outlines. I want to get to the turkey work. So those other parts can wait, but I do want the outline done. Because if I did the outline later, I might accidentally like pull some of that turkey work, those little frayed edges to the back, or I don't know, they'd just be in the way while I'm stitching. So I want to get this part done first. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, well, so that would be what I would normally do. So Lil Brittany says I could go through I have that whole giant thing of leftover floss. Like that would be a good way to use up some of that floss. But gosh, maybe I should do that. I was thinking that like, I'm gonna just see how far I can get with just this one penguin and fish batch of floss, like 23 skeins or whatever of the pocket skeins. But I've sort of, that was my original thing I was thinking, but I've sort of veered from that at this point anyway, because I don't think I've done any of these like to what the original was. So I was like, ooh, I wonder if I can stitch this whole thing with like one pack, but I've sort of veered from that anyway, like what I was saying. So yeah, maybe I'll use that. So I'll use up all the scraps I have here first, and then maybe I will do that, because then it can still be like multicolored and weird. He's gonna have like a fun, crazy mane. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a zillion colors. Well, it'll be 23 colors, because that's how many colors I have here. But tonight, let's get this outline going. I don't know if I'll get the entirety of the outline done, but we'll get a decent amount. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I need, since I'm going to be doing turkey work for all this, I don't know if I need to actually have this line go all the way up. But I'll probably just do that anyway, because I don't know how far out I'm going to go with the turkey work quite yet. I'll probably go around the head 2 or 3 times, and then probably add more up to the top where he has more fur, and then just kind of trim it in this shape. I don't know. I've not done a turkey work piece this big, and this doesn't seem that big, but like all that turkey work takes up just like tons of floss and a bunch of time, so this is sort of a big space. But I'm also not going to go all the way to the line. The fluff will take care of that for me, so I might not need as much as I think either. Oh gosh, this first strand is not even going to get me all the way around the neck here, or the head. I will have to cut more, I'm thinking. Oh, yep, Alicia, let me know if I'm saying that right. Yes, so I'm doing the backstitch. I'll start a new strand soon, so I can show you from the beginning, but yes, so I'm going this direction ultimately, but I'm going up a stitch length forward, and then I'm going backwards, and I'm going in the exact same hole as the last stitch. So I like going like straight down through the exact same hole. Yep. And then I'm coming up on the line for the next stitch, and I like kind of dragging my needle, then I can kind of see when I hit the line. Then I come straight up, and then straight back down into the same hole as that last stitch. So that is the back stitch. You guys, I think I'm going to get just around this head, because this strand is going to be my last stitch here, so I think I need, gosh, like 2 more stitches before I get that far. Wow, I'm going to have like the exact amount of floss to go around this guy's head. I think 1 more stitch after this one. Yeah, let's split the difference there. Okay. So that was some thread chicken magic where I had like just enough floss. So I'm going to weave in the ends. I like weaving in the ends versus tying knots at the beginning and end, because then I hate when I have those little tufts at the end of my knots, because I always pull those to the front, and I'm always like catching other threads on the knots. So by just weaving in the ends into the backs of stitches that already exist, and then you can trim really close too. I don't have any extra little nubbins popping out or anything, so I do like that. And then I have this floss that we left out at the beginning. Let's thread that and do our one last stitch and weave in that end as well. So I did that at the beginning because I didn't at the time have any stitches to weave in. Oops, lost my needles there. But now I do have some stitches. to weave in. So I was just kind of reserving that for later. Oh, can I get through one more time? I always go through 3 times. The third time kind of locks in the thread. I have just enough to do that. Great. Oh, good. Good. Thanks, Alicia. All right, boop. Actually, those other 2 needles are annoying me there. I'm gonna grab another needle minder that is also full of needles, and I'm gonna plop those on there. Okay, let's get our second piece of floss that we have all ready to go here. So I'm using 3 strands of floss, and I already split this in half earlier. Okay, and thread this guy. Ooh, he didn't really want to thread, but I got him. Okay, so I'm gonna weave into the backs of these stitches, and then I think we'll stitch to the end of the tail here, and then come back, and I think all these little lines are yellow, so we'll come back to those later, and yeah, and then we'll just go around the outside. I think that's really all that's left. These little toe nubbins, whatever, the little paw like inserts. What would the little fingers? I don't know. What would you call like the space in between like a cat's paw fingers? I don't know. Those lines are a different color as well. So all that's left with this orange is basically the outline. But I still think we're gonna need more floss. I don't think I have enough to go all the way around there. So I'm weaving in the ends again. Kitty paws. Okay, a little bit came out there. I'll trim those later. All right, back to the backstitch. So I'm going to be going, this is my starting point here, and I'm going in this direction. Or this is like the start of the line, and I'm going in this direction. But with a backstitch, you actually come up a stitch length away from the start. So that's what I'm doing there. And then I'm going back to the start of the line and going straight down. So that's the first stitch for the back stitch. Second stitch, we come up a stitch length away. I'm doing a little over 1/8 of an inch stitch maybe. And then backwards to that exact same hole, and I'm going straight down in the exact same hole. And that's the dealio. That is the back stitch. I love it for outlines. I mean, it gives this kind of like little beady look where you can see every little single stitch. Not everyone likes that, but I feel like that screams embroidery to me, so I do kind of like that. There's other stitches you can do if you want it like more blended together, like one solid line, or sort of like a solid line. But I like the back stitch. You can also do like fun things after you do the back stitch. So you could do a whipped back stitch, and that's where you do a back stitch first and then go around and around each stitch just on the top of the fabric. You go around each stitch, so you're basically going around your whole entire line again, but you're just wrapping around that stitch, and it makes, I have an example here. We did that on the giraffe for the letter G's, so it almost looks like baker's twine just sitting on top. We use a different color for the whip, but it starts out as just a plain old back stitch, and then you're just going around and around the tops of the stitches for a whipped back stitch, and I just think that's so cute. I need to do that more. I think it's just super cute, but in my head I'm like, but then I gotta like go around my whole lines all over again, but it's actually really kind of fast. All right, I think 3 more stitches or so. Right, so the tail, I'm going to do that turkey work as well, so that'll be poofy. We'll wait on that. We'll do that later. And now I'm jumping to this line, and we're going to continue the back stitch. Getting the basic stuff done tonight so that tomorrow we can do all the fun furry mane stuff. That's gonna be fun. Oh, you love that name, Turkey Work? I know, isn't that fun? I think there's actually, it's called a few different things. I think it's sometimes called like turkey rug work, or I don't quite know. But we did it, or like turkey tufting. Like there's a couple different names. In my head, it's called turkey work. I don't know why it's called that. I mean, I get the tufting or rug making because it does look like a rug sort of when you're done. But yeah, I guess I don't really know the origins of that. But yeah, it's fun. I like the name Turkey Work too. I think we did that on one other one. Let me see if I can find that one. We did it on the elephant. We did it on the elephant here too. He's got a fluffy tail. Ooh, his Turkey Work tail's a bit shorter than the giraffe. But yeah, so the lion mane that we're doing is gonna look like that. But I'm gonna do it like a zillion different colors. I'm going to do it all my excess scrap thread. I'm going to do it those colors. And I'll probably need more than that, though, honestly, because it uses up so much thread. So we'll probably have to get more out. But yeah, I might actually use for my big scrap bin of thread and not my nice stuff that's all wound up here. We'll see. Maybe it won't take more. I don't know. It will be an experiment. Ugh, you guys, I wish I could have music while we do this on the lives. I might have to do some just like TikTok only lives at some point where like a lazy Saturday live or something where we can just have like fun music on and stitch or something. I can't do music on these nightly lives because YouTube will flag it and be mad at it, so no music. Ooh, you guys, it's been like 90 degrees. It's gonna be like 90 degrees all week this week, which is a lot for us here, for sure. But we had a fire outside last night in the backyard, and just John and me hanging out, and that was just really nice. Although we came in and he went to bed, and I stayed up a little bit longer, and about 2 hours later, so John is like really diligent on when we're not out there, because we live in the city and stuff still, so you know we don't want fires just burning out on themselves. So like he'll soak them down with the hose. But a couple hours later, I peeked outside before going to bed, and it had started up on its own again. It was so hot earlier that even after him like completely soaking it, it found a way to turn itself back on. So we had to go back out and put it out again at like 1 a.m. Oh, Kissalis is asking, do I purposely use a shorter thread to start and stop? Is it easier to do it at a shorter length? So when I started embroidery, I never did that. I took like the super long piece because I didn't want to change. I didn't want to like have to like start and stop all the time and all that. But like the more I've done it, the more so along that way it had been recommended by people or whatever to do the shorter length, and now I've kind of stuck to it. So my reasons are a few things. So for one, it's not going to tangle and not nearly as much if you have the shorter amount. And I do about like 24, like 2 to 24 inches or so. Sometimes I go a little further. But it's not going to knot up as much while stitching. It's also going to, one of the reasons it gets super knotty with long thread as well is because you're wearing away the floss with the long thread. So like every time it goes through the fabric, you're like rubbing on the thread, right? So with these short amounts of thread, it doesn't matter. But if you're using a long piece of thread, you'll notice that at some point the thread like towards the end will feel weaker and thinner, and that's because it's being kind of worn away as it goes. So that's one way. I mean, it's super freaking subtle, but still, that will cause a little bit more knotting, and yeah, it'll just be a little harder to work with, and you can sometimes see the wear. Like it'll be thicker to start out, and like your last little bits will be a little thinner. So most good floss, you're not going to be totally visible, but it happens, and I think that's why it gets a little bit more knotty. The other reason is for repetitive stress. So I'm not like stretching my arm like all the way back behind my head or whatever because I have a huge long piece of thread. I don't have to pull it forever, so it's going to help with like shoulder repetitive stress, and you're going to be able to stitch faster because you don't have to like pull it, for 4 seconds to get it all the way through and then come back to the last stitch. It is annoying that I have to switch thread or do the thread more often, but you get used to it after not having to deal with the long thread and not as many knots and stuff. All right, I'm risking it with one more stitch, I think. Oh god, yeah, that was maybe a bad idea, but because I don't have that much thread to weave in, I am gonna have to get a new piece of thread. But I think the rower, well, whatever. I'm not wasting the thread because it's all gonna go in the main too, so I'm not worried about getting a whole nother piece of floss out. I should have left a little bit more. So if you like, I want to weave in my end 3 times, but I don't think I have enough to turn my needle around, so I'm actually going to go just through with the eye of the needle. So that's a little trick if you don't have enough thread left over. You can go in through the eye. It's a little annoying, but it works. All right, and I'm going to snip those little extra hairs here, just because I'm getting picky. I don't really need to do this, but getting picky. Okay, let's get another piece of that. This is called Tiger Lily, this thread. Oh yeah. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say your name. Fea Drapu. I don't know if I said that right. Because I don't know if I'm splitting up the word. But they're saying it breaks in that instant sometimes. Yeah, so if you wear away your thread. So yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but I have about a healthy 24 inches. Maybe not. This is about 24 inches. I usually go like 18 to 24 inches of floss, and that seems like a decent length. Some people, I think, I've seen people like measure like to their inner arm before, but doesn't really matter. I just kind of estimate. So, all right, and I'm only using 3 strands, so it comes with 6 strands, but embroidery floss, stranded embroidery floss or 6-strand embroidery floss. Those are different names for this style of embroidery floss, which is what you typically find. It's meant to be able to take strands out easily, and this is how I do it. I just kind of separate one strand at a time and pull them out, and then your other thread will just kind of relax. And then I put them back together. That to me is easier than pulling like both sides. It doesn't wrap around itself and any of that. So I think this is actually easier. I thought it was kind of silly when I started doing it this way. Not silly, but like, geez, that seems like extra time too to pull out all those pieces. But it gets rid of the whole, like, oh, is my thread going to twist together or anything? And it's actually much faster, I think, now that I've been doing it. And then sometimes I want only like 2 strands instead of 3, or just 1 strand, and it's easier to pull strands that way. All right, we're almost done here. I'm going to weave in where I left off, and we'll just finish this up. All right, so I weave in 3 times as well. 1, 2. The third kind of locks it in. There we go. Oh yeah, Amy's saying long strands are bad for your shoulder. Yeah. And when you do a ton of embroidery, that adds up, that repetitive stress, for sure. John went for a bike ride because he was meeting some friends. And he's like, oh, I'll be home by whenever, like, because I have a meeting in the evening. Like, he has a meeting, like, actually coming up, I think. So he's like, I'm not going to need a light for my bike. And I'm like, you could at least still bring it. And now it's getting dark, so I'm thinking he's happy that he has his light now. Funny. Right. Oh, okay. Phaedra, that makes way more sense. I am the worst at splitting up a person's username. Sometimes I'll just like be sounding it out, and then I'm like, oh yeah, duh, that's the end of the first word and that the start of the second word. But like at first, I could never tell. But okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I see it now. Phaedra poop. That's cute. Alright, we are getting there. So we have about 20 minutes to go yet tonight. I think we have time to do the face for sure. I think I'll do that next, and then maybe I'll just get the other little details since we're going. Oh, and there's some satin stitch and stuff in the face, so that'll take some time. Yeah, I don't think we're getting to the turkey work tonight. So I'm typically here for an hour in the evening. I start at 8:30 Central Time. Monday through Friday. So, yeah, I don't think we'll get to the main tonight, but that we're going to go heavy on that tomorrow for sure. So that'll be fun. I'm excited to use up all that excess floss for that. He's going to have the colorfulest little mane. Alright, sometimes with the last stitch I'll do a forward stitch, then I don't have to come up perfectly in the right spot. I can go down. Alright, that's it, I think, for that color. Let's see, I covered up my instructions here. Let's just peek. Yeah, I guess the type is that color, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So let's get his face. I'm going to do the yellow ears. Those will be satin stitch, and then I'm going to there's a little bit yellow, little fuzzles on his back. So we'll do that, and then I'll do the satin stitch for his nose, then probably do his little feet lines because that's the same color, and then we'll get to the black part of his face last. So then we'll have all the parts that we need. I mean, I didn't do the letters, obviously, or the roar yet, but we'll have all the parts that we need, or that I'd like done before doing the turkey work, which is all that fuzzy stitching, and I don't want to have to stitch more lines afterwards. I didn't think I did. I didn't think I wove this in yet. Felt funny. So let's do that now. So this little bit of thread we will add to the massive extras that we're going to use for the mane. There we be. Ooh, I want to see something quick. So again, the mane I'm going to do with all my excess floss. I was like, ooh, let's put it around. All right, it's going to look something like that. Let's put a hole in the middle and see what it looks like. It won't be that messy and that thick, but like that's what the colors will kind of feel like. So that's going to be fun. Gosh, you know what? It would be fun just to do this. Like, we could literally just kind of shape this, and we could tack it down. Like, I could go with thread and tack this mob of, this mass of floss down. I could just tack it, like, there, and just this could be his mane. How fun would that be? I'm gonna have to save that idea for later. This would be a cute nest, too. Like, we could put, like, little beads in for a little, like, bird. Like a little, needle-felted bird or something. Dang. Okay. Well, anyway. I had to see what that was going to look like quick. All right, let's get some yellow, and I'm going to err again on new floss because I know I'm going to use up all that excess on his mane. Oops, I don't really need a ton of this, but again, I'll use the excess. So let's just, I don't know, call that 15 inches. I don't know. Boop. Okay. Actually, this is more like I would call this, yeah, I'm still calling it 15. I feel like with quilting, or like doing all these crafts, certain measurements I've gotten good at eyeballing. Now I'm curious. I guess 15 inches, right? Oh, now I actually want to see how big it is. Getting in crazy mode now if I'm doing this. Oh my gosh, it's like, oh, check that. It is exactly 15 inches. Oh no, it's just shy. It's 14 and 3/4 inch. If I pull it, maybe it'll be 7 or 15. So that's a pretty good size estimate. That's funny. Oh man. Pressed myself with that one. Okay, get these 3. Oops, I messed it up already. Alright, guys, get together there. Zoop. Alright, so now I'm going to just do the satin stitch in his ears. I think I'll start with this one and then zoomy my way over to this one, like just go through the backs of the stitches and go to here. And then we'll see how much floss I have. Otherwise, depending on the floss, I'll either start fresh down here or I'll just go in the backs of the stitches and find my way down there. Jump down there, basically. But I'm thinking I probably don't have that much floss here. Okay, let's thread this and get this little baby satin stitch going. Okay. Oh, what am I making these for? This is, well, the backstory is that these are some of my embroidery patterns that I made about 10 years ago. And they're like the start of my embroidery company, really. And I've been doing these lives for about, God, practically a decade now, at least 6 years. I should look it up, how long I've been doing these lives, like pretty much every night. But anyway, I've been doing these like forever, and just crafting every night for an hour or so. And we've never done this whole set of the alphabet animals, like some of our original designs here. Like from back in the day. We've done a few here and there separately for projects, but not the whole set. So we thought, 2022 is going to be the year that we stitch this whole guy up. So we're actually donating sales, a portion of sales of the patterns to make these to the I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Minneapolis Crisis Nursery. And we're making this into a quilt. And we're using the quilt as you go process for that, and I can explain that too. But we're making this into a quilt, all the letters of the alphabet with these little animals on. And we will be doing an auction for that, and then the money from that auction will also go to the Minneapolis Crisis Nursery. So that's what we're doing here. And this is a slow roll. Like we're gonna be doing this through at least mid-spring to early summer of next year. So we're doing one letter a week, but we're only doing it for 2 weeks out of the month. So basically 2 letters a month. And we're on L, and this is the second letter we did. So we're done with I think I'm gonna do, that'll be my last stitch. We're done with July. So the next time we do the next letter, M, which is a monkey, we'll do that in August. So, ooh, yay, we're going to do the newt. So next month will be M and N. So that's the newt, or it's the monkey, which is one of our original kits and stuff too. So that's an oldie. They're all oldies, but they're still fun. And then the letter N is the newt, and that's one of my favorites. Oh, so here they are. the next two letters, letter M and an N. I just like how squiggly he is. That'll be fun. Maybe we'll do like a little rainbow newt. I don't know how we get rainbows in there, but that'd be kind of fun. Getting ahead of myself. But anyway, so that's this project. I think we'll finish it, all the letters, in like, what was it, like February or something? But then we still have to finish the quilt. But we are doing this as a quilt as you go process. So the quilt as you go process, it's like a quilting term, but what you do is instead of like making the whole front of the quilt, the back of the quilt, and then quilting it, which is actually where you sew all those pieces together, like you're sewing the front and the back and the batting, the like fluffy middle. The act of sewing those all together is called quilting, and you do that typically when you're done with the whole front. But what we're doing is called quilt as you go, which means that we are just taking our smaller pieces and quilting the smaller pieces. So we have the front, the fluffy middle, the batting, which is called batting, or wadding if you're across the pond, and then the back, and we are sewing those all together separately. So like here's some of them that we have sewn together, and then we will assemble these all individually later. So after that assembly is done, we're done. There's no quilting that we have to do yet. Typically you'd have like a huge piece of fabric because it's all your pieces sewn together, and you'd quilt that, and it's tough, like tough to do on a home sewing machine because it's just tons of stuff, tons of fabric you're trying to move around, which can be kind of difficult. So this quilt as you go process is just a fun technique to do the quilting part a little bit earlier in the process. And we haven't gone through how to assemble these blocks yet, so we'll have to, next time we have a nice free week, we'll maybe have to do that. So next week, you guys, we'll be stitching the embroidery of the month. I'm excited to get going on that. So the embroidery of the month this month is the Luna moth. And I've been seeing like people posting photos of Luna moths all over lately, so it must be that time of year. But here's the Luna moth. Oh, and the freebie. Here's the embroidery, so that's what we'll be stitching next week. I think I'll be on location a little bit for that as well. So that's the embroidery of the month. That's next week's project. And the freebie, with the embroidery of the month, you get a little freebie. It's our little "You Are My Moon and Stars" Luna moth card. So that's every embroidery of the month gets a little freebie, and that's this month's. Oh, needle's back there. All right, you guys, we got about 10 more minutes left. Oh yeah. I was going to do his little face. Let's use, do I want to use red? We also have a couple different oranges. I'm missing an orange, this orange. So, I kind of like keeping with the orange. Let's use this just super bright orange. We're a little kind of getting out of this. But again, I like have some in here, like I see it right here. But I know I'm going to use a pile of this. Normally I would use my scrap floss first for all of this. I wouldn't go to my new stuff, but we're using the scraps for his mane, so I'm just like feeling comfortable like getting a whole new piece here when I got a piece there, but I gotta remember that that's already dedicated to something. All right, got sort of a small piece, but I think it'll be enough. Oh, Sheila's asking, do I use a special embroidery needle for the sulky stick and stitch transfer paper? I'm having trouble getting my needle through the fabric. Oh, really? Through the fabric and the sulky medium weight paper. I usually don't. Are you using the same fabric, like a muslin fabric? I'm just trying to think, is it the fabric or is it the sulky? I haven't really had trouble with the sulky. So some needles are maybe a little bit more blunt than others. If you have a slightly sharper one or a slightly thinner needle, maybe that would help, but Yeah, I don't know. Typically, I think our needles work pretty decent for that. Hmm. Not quite sure, Sheila. Okay, let's do this nose. I'm just thinking I don't want to weave in the end. So I think what I'm going to do, this is me being lazy again, but I'm going to start the stitch, but I'm going to leave a little bit here to weave in later, and I'm just going to go hold it there with my finger. Normally I have a actual, well, I'll just do that. I'm going to do my technique called an away knot. So I'm just going to tie a knot at the end of this floss. Basically, I want to reserve a little piece of thread to weave in at the end, just because I don't want to weave into the back stitches here and then jump across, because I think it'll just make, you'll see that line basically. So instead I'm going to go tie a knot. I'm going to go from the front to the back, and now I'm going to stitch as if that doesn't exist, but you can see I'm basically reserving a piece of thread that I'll be able to weave in later. So that's called a waist knot, and this version of the waist knot is called an away knot, because it's like away from my starting point. So we're going to just fill this guy in. I'm not sure I really need to outline this. So in the, maybe because of the mouth. Actually, maybe I'll do the mouth in the red. So in the original, the black is outlining the satin stitch. Oh, that's kind of cute still, though. But I was thinking maybe I don't need to outline it. I could just leave it red, but then, like, it'd be weird to have a black nose, I think. But maybe I could just make his mouth and nose this color, too. That'd be a little bit different. I haven't done that in a while. I think I'm going to do that. I think that'll be cute. All right, so I started in the middle just because I had that nice point at the bottom. That seemed like a good spot to, like, get my bearings. Go straight up from there. So I'm doing one side, and then I'll go back to the other side. And I don't care if I go all the way to the tip of the nose, the point of the nose, because that line, we're going to get rid of that. I think that's good right there. The line's going to go away when we take off the water-soluble marker. When we're done here. Alicia, I am stitching with 3 strands for this. Although, when I start to do the turkey work, I haven't decided on that yet. For the turkey work, I might do 6 or whatever I can kind of grab. So, I don't know if you heard, but we are doing... Oh, where did they go now? Where did the line go? All the letters are all over the place now. But we have, there, this guy has it. So we're doing turkey work for the mane, and that's like where you can get like a super kind of fluffy 3D floof. So it's a really fun stitch, but typically for that I will use 6 strands. But we're going to do his whole mane like that, but I'm going to use just like excess thread that I have. So I don't know. I haven't done that with like spare or like excess floss like that before. So so I'm not sure I'm gonna do that. Like if I'm gonna just thread it all or what. I don't know. Because all those pieces aren't the same size. I don't have a strategy for that yet. I'm going to have to think that through. I could do like less strands, but then it's just going to take longer, and I like the thickness of using the 6. All right, I'm going to have to think about that before tomorrow when we start. Like a good way to do use the waste floss or my excess scrap thread for the mane. Oh, that's awesome! Alicia says I'm moderately decent at cross stitch, and I've only dabbled in other embroidery skills. I'm actually going to. I want to dabble back into cross stitch. I haven't done it in a long time, and I'm kind of itching to do it again. There, I think just the one color is cute. I like it like this, so I'm going to weave in this end. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna fall in love with it again, but for me, I like embroidery as a quick win project. Um, for me, it's like so fast. Well, I mean, it depends on the embroidery for sure. Like if you're filling in like fully like large shapes and all that, it takes a while. But like if you're comparatively doing cross stitch this size compared to like an embroidery this size, embroidery takes so much less time to do. So at least a simple embroidery like this. So I really love embroidery for that reason. Like if I just needed like a quick win, embroidery is the way to go. But if I want to chill, I'm thinking cross stitch will fill that need. That's kind of what like knitting and crochet is for me a little bit. Like I know I'm not finishing it right away. If I'm doing a blanket or something like that, it's gonna take a while. So for me, I know that, and then I could just chill. And my brain isn't like, oh, why aren't you done yet? It knows that the purpose is just to chill. Whereas with embroidery, I'm like, ooh, quick, easy project. Sort of, relatively, I suppose. All right, oops, I think, oh, we got it. There, good. Okay, well, I think we'll probably end there for the night. So what I am going to do before we start the turkey work tomorrow, again, that's that fluffy stitch. I'm going to be using all my scrap thread for that. Before I do that, though, I have his little toes down here, and I feel like I lost, oh, here it is. I'm like, I lost the thread for that already. So we'll do the little toes and his little eyes. So that won't take long. And then after that, we'll get on with the turkey work. And I might actually do his little tail first, just as like a warm-up, to see if I remember how to do it. And then I'm going to go around and around his head a bit. Again, with all our mix of thread. I think it's going to be so cute. His little mane. It's cute just with his mass, I think. Anywho, so it'll look something like that, let's say. But all right, you guys. So we will call it a night there. It's nice that we at least got this little outline done. I can feel like I got, we got a line started here at least, versus just a pile of floof and not being able to see the outline at all. So awesome. I feel good about this. I will definitely get going on that turkey work tomorrow. Oh, I may not be here on Friday. I think we're going to be going to visit my parents again on Friday, and I think I might still be there on Monday, but we will still be starting the embroidery of the month on Monday. I might just do it on location. So heads up, none of that's finalized, but I think it'll be some version of that. So all right, have a lovely evening. I will be back here tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And $20 in the shop for the next few minutes, and I will throw in a free mystery gift again as a thank you for watching me live here tonight. I appreciate it. So have a lovely, lovely evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.